Our story starts a couple of years ago at a hospital that got itself into trouble with some chemotherapy targets. People didn't get the treatment that they needed to have on time. A couple of people died, and we don't know whether they died because they didn't get the treatment on time or whether they were very sick anyway, and they might well have died. The hospital, for reasons that I just don't really understand, lied about hitting the targets. They falsified the documentation, and when it was discovered, the chief executive lost his job, the chairman went, they've had goodness knows how many interim managers coming in to help them run the hospital. Nothing has gone right since that moment. What turned those people with a strong sense of vocation into liars? Why was it that good, honest people were more frightened of the regulators, more frightened even of the regulators than they were of the relatives and patients that they were looking after? It's at that point I realised the barriers to change and innovation were much bigger and heavier than I thought. And it was at that point I started to think about the Academy of Fabulous Stuff. Somewhere where people could go to share best practice. They could say, we've got a problem. Have you got that problem? Can you share me the answer?
Hello, my name's Dr. Terry Porritt, and I'd like to tell you about the achievements of Fab NHS Stuff in the last 18 months. We've had nearly 1,000 shares to the website, and that equates to over 500,000 page views, with up to 4,000 page views a day. We've got 10,000 Twitter followers. What are they looking for? Small changes, small solutions, alongside large organisational change, all of which is often transferable and generalisable. A London commissioning group looked at vaccinations. They knew that people were not coming back for their booster part of the vaccination. They wanted to improve the uptake, so they created a dovetail model of delivery. What's this achieved? Well, it saved 2.1 million GP and practice nurse appointments, and it saved £3 on the national tariff for each vaccination. Roll that out nationally. What are we going to save? There were over 160 email inquiries to replicate this service. A recent share looked at the use of twiddle muffs for patients with dementia who are at risk of becoming agitated. Well, you may scoff that this is a little thing that makes no difference. It's been rolled out widely across the country now, and formal research being undertaken is already showing a decrease in the amount of medication required for patients because of anxiety. Don't mock the little things. The safe and timely discharge of patients is one of the biggest problems facing the NHS. A number of our shares look at discharge to assess, with the focus being on therapeutic re-enablement. In this share, we learn of a service that has saved on average 8.6 bed days per patient and has seen a 35% reduction of packages of care after initial support with therapeutic enablement. What have I learnt in the last 18 months? There is no such thing as little things. They're all big things.
So why does this work? Why has it been such a huge success? Well, believe it or not, it is founded in some proper management science. It's called positive deviance, and there are several points here to make it clear how this works to help with the transformation process. The community owns the entire process. Flow through hospitals. Every hospital that I know is having these problems, and ESIST, which is part of NHS England, have been working on trying to get these priorities sorted out, but to help them through the academy by not only disseminating the good work that they've been doing, but also by getting people who are also working on the problem to combine with them and sharing ideas. So, for example, we've now got the concept of red and green days. A red day is a day where there's very little value, very little of value happening to patients, and green days where a lot of things happen, and so you want more green days than red days. It sounds very simple, and there's a lot of management science that sits underneath it. But by being able to share the concept, now we know, because we can look at the data and the number of people looking at the site and what they look at, this has had a huge impact on flow through the system. So we've recruited now about 50 fabulous ambassadors, we call them, ambassadors to the Academy. We're in the process now of training them and helping them with their career development. So what they're doing is that they are looking for good stuff to share. They're looking for situations where they work, and then going back to the Academy as a resource centre and say, do you know what, we've got a problem here. Has anybody else had that problem? And we can share the solution. So it's giving people the confidence to step forward and share the little things that they're doing in their own patch. What we can do is we can change the climate. We each of us bring our own eco-structure to work. We're just interested in how you do stuff, how it works, and how it improves things. So it's not bogged down in trials or business cases, or the whole thing is very fluid and very free. And finally, PD teaches us to expand knowledge through networks, which is what we tried to do. We've told you about the extent to which the Academy has grown and just taken off, and I've talked to you about the ambassadors. So people can say, you know, I've changed this, what do you think? And then other people say, wow, that's really clever, we'll have a go. Or, yeah, we've done that and we've changed it by doing this and that. And I've been in and around the NHS since 1974. I've seen an enormous number of big pushes to change and improve it. I have been the one that stood in the control room, and I have pushed the counters across the map, and I have coloured in bits of papers, and I have put the pins in the map on the wall. And all of those changes, when I look back, they've changed almost nothing. But what I've discovered is if you really want to change things, you have to go to where the work is done and ask people, could we do this better? If you can, you have to show people what good looks like, and they'll get on and do it, and often they'll do it better. We won't change anything from guidance. We won't change anything from the centre, the Department of Health, NHS England. What will change is the people on the ground. When they change their hearts and their minds, when you capture their enthusiasm for innovation, when you ask them what we could do better, we have to protect the front line, fund it properly, make it fun to work there, and learn from them.